wa ta'ala in these nights through the wasila of Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, that all of our du'as are answered insha'Allah. رحم الله من قرأ سورة الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن
اللهم اغفر المؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات، تابع بيننا وبينهم بالخيرات، إنك سميع مجيب الدعوات وإنك قاضي الحاجات وإنك لجعلت لكل شيء قدرا. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما.
اللهم صل على. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم بمصابنا بسيدنا ومولانا أمير المؤمنين عليه السلام، وجعلنا الله وإياكم من الطالبين بثأره بين يدي الإمام المنصور المؤيد المهدي من آل محمد. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا وعظيمنا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه الغر الميامين. الحمد لله الذي جعلنا من المتمسكين بولاية سيدي ومولاي علي بن أبي طالب. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. أما بعد، يقول الله في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل لا أسألكم عليه أجرا إلا المودة في القربى. The first of our loud salawat in honor of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. The second loud salawat in honor of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. And a third in honor of the Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asr wa zaman. Allahumma salli ala. Can I request you, if you don't mind, before I begin, if you could just to your left, any space you see to your left, let's just move in for those brothers who are a bit tied up there in the corner. Please come in and let's use as much of the space as possible. أحسنتم. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Respected scholars and brothers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. No one can do justice to the biography of Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib, salawatullah wa salamuhu alayhi. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. If all the pens came together and all the greatest speakers came together, they would never be able to elucidate the merits and the fada'il of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. The reality is that 63 years on this earth, Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib displayed the finest perfection that any human being could ever have displayed. This, of course, is not something unusual, considering his teacher is the greatest creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At the end of the day, anyone who is raised in that household will only produce the best of the best. But in the 63 years on this earth, even non-Shia scholars admit that if you wanted to look for the greatest human being, then you would look towards Ali ibn Abi Talib. If you look, for example, at one example, as you know, there are 6 Sahih books: Bukhari, Muslim, Tirmidhi, Ibn Majah, Abu Dawood, and another which is known as the Sunan of An-Nasa'i. An-Nasa'i was one of the most famous non-Shia scholars. He has a book which he wrote about the merits of Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. The book is known as the Khasa'is of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Nasa'i brought together the biography of Imam Ali alayhi salam, and he tried as hard as he could to elucidate all the merits of Mawla in one book. When he did this, the government of the time got angry with him. That why have you written this much on Ali? Why don't you write also a book on Muawiyah? When he came, he said, and what do you want me to write about Muawiyah? They said to him, well, if you found that much on Ali, then write on Muawiyah. He replied by saying, look, the reality is that Ali ibn Abi Talib, what I've written isn't a glimpse of his life. What I've written is only what I found and what I was able to explain. And that if I had the chance and I lived forever, it would still not be enough to count the merits of Ali ibn Abi Talib. When they asked him, well, how about Muawiyah? He said, I'd be hard pressed to find much about Muawiyah, except one thing I found. I said, what is it? He said, the Prophet prayed that, oh Allah, never fill up his stomach. Yes? And so because of that, Nasa'i, who is one of the authors of the 6 Sahihs, go to any Dar al-Ulum, any seminary, any mosque in Birmingham, or in the north of England, say to them, what are the 6 Sahih books? When they tell you Nasa'i, ask them, why was Nasa'i tortured? He was tortured because he wrote a book on the merits of Ali and nothing on Muawiyah. Therefore, even non-Shia have reached levels where they could not understand or fathom the life of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. For us, if someone was to ask you, try and summarize a biography of Mawla's life. Reality, as many of you know, that about 10 years ago I done a biography of Amir al-Mu'mineen on YouTube, and I came to 24 lectures. People came to me and they said, MashaAllah, we enjoyed the 24. I said to them that I had prepared 47 majalis on Amir al-Mu'mineen. 24 was all we could fit in the holy month of Ramadan. Even since then, the reality is that there will never be anyone who will be able to give enough majalis on the man we honor tonight. But reality at the same time is that we live in a generation which is an Insta generation. They want you to get through something and summarize. Without a doubt, you have to meet the needs of your time. If I give 600 lectures on Mawla, the reality is, as much as you love Mawla, people are busy, people don't have time. People who do have time are occupied with personal life, business life. How then, if you set me a challenge, that within one majlis, how would I break down the biography of Ali ibn Abi Talib? One majlis. In which way would I break down his biography in one lecture? If I was to do that, it is what I will try and do tonight. That from the day he was born until the day he died, let's try and look at an overview of the biography of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. From the beginning until the end. And the majority of things I'm going to look at are what non-Shia also quote. If they were only what we quote, then someone might say, you were only preaching to the choir. We already love Ali. Why did you tell us what? Also, let's look at things which non-Shia have reached a conclusion on concerning Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. And my method is going to be 5 stages. From birth until when? Until prophethood. From his birth until the Prophet's prophethood. From prophethood until hijrah. From hijrah until when? Until the Prophet's death. From Prophet's death until the end of the Khulafa. From his Khilafah until Ibn Muljam. We're going to tonight break Ali ibn Abi Talib's life into 5 stages. From his birth until when? Until Nubuwah. And then from Nubuwah until Hijrah. Hijrah until death of the Prophet. Death of the Prophet until end of the third Khulafa. End of the third Khulafa, his Khilafah until his martyrdom. Let's tonight open up the biography of Amir al-Mu'mineen. And I ask you to reflect on one thing. Which man in early Islamic history has as much in 63 years as this man ever had? Let's examine this and dissect the topic in complete depth. When you begin with Ali ibn Abi Talib, one particular part which you must always remember is that when you begin with his birth, you have to ask this question. Birth of his soul or birth of his body? There any other person, this would not. Yeah. Ya Ali. Any other person, you could never say, do we begin with his soul or with his body? Most people, you would say, this guy was born first Hijrah, this one was born one day before Hijrah, this one was born 16th Hijrah, this one was born on a mountain, this one was born in a fly pit, this one was born in a hospital. But with Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, when you look at him, the first thing you ask is that when we say birth until nubuwwah, we mean the birth at the beginning of the soul and then the birth of the body. How? Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself said, me and Ali were two noors created before all noor. Yes? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not mention anyone else. When he didn't mention anyone else, it was for the people of the earth to realize that there is a difference between a random Arab and one whose noor is the reason we are here. A clear difference. When you see even Sufis, the followers of, for example, Abdul Qadir al-Gilani, or the followers of Mu'in ad-Din Chishti, and the followers of many of the peers that have come, they will always talk about the noor of Muhammad and Ali. Why? Even Nabi Adam alayhi salam, when he saw what he saw, and he spoke to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is even before we've come to the birth on earth. We're talking the birth in the realms. Adam said, Ya Allah, بحق محمد وأنت المحمود. Ya Allah, this is the power of wasila. The power of wasila. That when I ask Allah and I mention the names of Al Muhammad, yes, my dua will automatically be accepted. Ya Allah, Ya Allah, بحق محمد وأنت المحمود وبحق علي وأنت الأعلى. This is in Mecca. Which Mecca? This is in paradise. Already way before we've got to Mecca, look where we are. بحق علي وأنت الأعلى وبحق فاطمة وأنت فاطر السماوات والأرض وبحق الحسن وأنت المحسن وبحق الحسين وأنت قديم الإحسان. Ya Allah, forgive me. Angel asked him, why did you use those names? You could have used anything. He said, because I saw their names on the gates of Jannah. And I knew. And that's why Adam would later on say, and Rasulullah would say, that me and Ali's noor was created while Adam between soul and clay. Between body and clay, Adam alayhi salam had not been created. Ali ibn Abi Talib's noor is already there. Therefore, when I begin Ali ibn Abi Talib's biography, I begin from his birth. What do? Soul. Then I begin with his birth, Kaaba. Even that's even, one may argue, greater than soul. How? Because which companion is born in the house of Allah? True? Who is born in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And how much they tried to cover his birth in the Kaaba. Ya Ammi, every angle. They even gave some random guy a midwife in the Kaaba as well. Yes? There was a guy who was Sayyidah Khadija's nephew called Hakim bin Hazam. They said, but he was born in the Kaaba as well. But who's this guy to be born in the Kaaba? Reality is that Mawla was himself the only person to have ever been born, and that Rukn Yamani back area opened up for his mother. His mother had an honor that Maryam alayhi salam did not even get. Maryam walked to the Bayt al-Maqdis. Allah said, leave the Holy Land. Fatima bint Asad, Allah said, give birth in this Holy Land. As soon as that Kaaba opened, she entered. Look at the hypocrisy and the hate of the Quraysh, they tried everything to get into the Kaaba. Everything. But they could not even get in. She stayed there for a few days. As soon as he came out, the first person to hold him was Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. First person. The Holy Prophet was the first to hold Imam Ali alayhi salam. And to be there and to recite in his ears. Someone once said to me, but how could he recite the Quran? Quran had not been revealed. Well, it wasn't revealed to you. It was revealed way before to them. To you it wasn't revealed. We have to try to tell you the Quran. Because we're worried about you. So we need to do it for you slowly. These two, there was a chip in them way before. When he says something to him, because this is always an argument, that how could Rasulullah recite Surah Al-Mu'minun when Surah Al-Mu'minun was revealed? How many years? Many years after Imam Ali was born. Say, Baba, they were there already. لا يمسه إلا المطهرون. لوح محفوظ. Therefore, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa took him. Rasul doesn't take randomly. He even, Abu Talib himself says, after you, Ya Rasulullah. You are the one. This is all initiation. This is all touch. The breath, the chewing of food. All of this is not random. It is being done because you're passing risala to imamah. You're making sure that tahara continues. Ashhadu annaka kunta nuran. What do we say in ziyarah? Ashhadu annaka kunta nuran fil aslab shamikha wal arham al mutahara lam tunajjiska. Jahiliyyah doesn't touch him. Touched a few others, mind you. There's a few who are born in sujood of an idol. What can you do? As in, this guy is born in sujood of an idol. Let's give benefit of the doubt. He's a child. And then if you're born into that family, what can you do? Because the Arabs used to dedicate their children to the idols. So as soon as the child was born, they let the child sit near the idol. It was dedicated. How could I follow someone whose first eyes saw an idol, in contrast to the one whose eyes saw Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi? How? And I will repeat this point which I said in a majlis before. Every prophet of Allah, his wasi was born on Tawheed. You're telling me the last one would have a wasi born on shirk? Every prophet, his wasi was born on Tawheed. All of them. Adam's wasi, Tawheed. Sulaiman, Dawood, Ibrahim, Ishaq, always they're born on Tawheed. How comes the greatest one has a caliph who was not born in Tawheed? Therefore, Imam Ali, pre-eternal realm, Noor. In the Kaaba, the only person to be born, not just the only person to be born, in his childhood, who raised Ali ibn Abi Talib? Who raised him? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa. How can you as a Muslim make someone number 4 when he's been raised by number 1? How? How? He has been raised by the number 1 creation of Allah. Where did your maths take you? Surely, your mathematics, it's simple. If he has been raised by number 1, then he should succeed number 1. Instead, you found what happened. There was a famine. Abu Talib was in a bit of difficulty. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa and his uncle Abbas said, I'll bring up Ja'far al-Tayyar. Rasulullah said, I'll raise Ali ibn Abi Talib. And he raised him. And he chewed his food. And those of you who of course have been following my series this month on Nahj al-Balagha will see when Imam Ali alayhi himself says that the Prophet used to press me to his chest. And he's the one who used to feed me. And I used to be the one who used to follow him when he would go to Ghar Hira for meditation. Like a young camel used to follow the footprints of its mother. I used to see the effulgence of light, of revelation, and smell the smell of prophethood. When Islam did not exist in any house, it only existed in his house and Khadija, and I was the third of all of those where it existed. Then he said, on that day, what happened? On that day he said, upon prophethood, upon revelation, he says, as soon as he announced it, we heard the moan of shaitan. I said to him, Ya Rasulullah, what is that moan of shaitan? He said, shaitan has despaired that he would not be worshipped. Then he said the lines. Listen to what he said. Oh Ali, you see what I see. and you hear what I hear, except you are not a prophet after me, but you are the wazir. Therefore, from a young age, Ali ibn Abi Talib could hear what Rasulullah could hear, could see what Rasulullah could see, would travel where Rasulullah would travel. For goodness sake, his personal chef was Rasulullah. Imagine, if your personal chef was Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, then how pure are you in that childhood? Wherever Rasulullah would go, Imam would go. And that's why when we move from that first stage, we are from birth to nubuwah. When the Prophet announces his prophethood, he announces it. Who's the one who says, now am I old enough to be your chef? Ali ibn Abi Talib. When Rasulullah sallallahu was ordered by the Quran, وَانذِرْ عَشِيرَتَكَ الْأَقْرَبِينَ, do da'watul ashira. Many times if you ask the Shia, what's the proof that Imam Ali is the Imam after Rasulullah? They jump to Ghadir. No, come back. Da'watul ashira at the beginning. At the beginning. They psychologically got you stuck on Ghadir. Don't let them get you stuck anywhere. Come back. When we said the second stage was prophethood till Hijrah, as soon as the Prophet announced publicly, he made sure, look at the best of planners on any business, forget religion. Any business, they'll plan 20 years ahead, not 1 year. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not just say, hey, by the way, there's one God, I'm a prophet. No. There's one God, I'm a prophet, but I'm going to offer you my family, my near ones. I'm going to offer you something. Whoever of you accepts my prophethood will be my wasi and my khalifa and my wazir after me. At that moment, who put his hand up? Ali ibn Abi Talib. How much? 13 years old. 13. He put his hand up. Rasulullah waited. Any of you, Abu Lahab, you, no one. Again, number 2. Again, number 3. The Prophet after this moment said, oh Ali, you will be my wasi and my khalifa and my wazir after me. Because when someone tells me I don't understand Mawla, do you have a doubt about the word khalifa? You have a problem with the word Mawla. Okay, leave the word Mawla. The word Khalifa is clear. Adam, inni ja'alun fil ardi Khalifa. Dawood, inna ja'alnaka Khalifatan. What else do you want? Khalifa. You are my Khalifa and my Wazir and my Wasi after me. And subhanallah, how they slowly deleted this sentence. Wallah, forget us. Don't delete it for yourself. For yourself. Allah has given hidayah. Wasi, Khalifa, Wazir after me. Ali ibn Abi Talib therefore was already planned to succeed Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa from the age of 13. Don't let anyone trap you and push you to Ghadir only. They'll play with words with you the whole day. Say, no, wait. When the Prophet invited his family, you admit that Ali is his first cousin. So what was Ali ibn Abi Talib doing there? They tried to twist it. Ali ibn Abi Talib was too young to understand. Too young. Al-Ma'mun, ironically, although la'na on him, but Ma'mun ironically defended Mawla on this area. When they said to Ma'mun that Ali ibn Abi Talib is too young, he said, then you have a problem with Nubuwah. I said to him, what do you mean? He said, well, that means that the Prophet could not decipher who's young enough and who's not. Whoa. Imagine, sometimes even shaitan gives good answers. Yes? That means, if you're saying the Prophet, if you're saying Ali is too young, that means Rasulullah would waste his breath. Would Rasulullah not turn around and say, sorry, you're a bit young, you cannot become Khalifa? No. Rasulullah said, Anta wasi, Anta al-Khalifa, Anta al-Wazir min ba'di. Number 2, what Ma'mun then said was more interesting. Do you then believe Rasulullah receives wahi from Allah? That means it wasn't Rasul who appointed him, it was Allah who chose him. Wasn't Rasulullah, it was Allah who chose him. Mawla, where are we? Birth, heaven. Birth, Kaaba. Raised, Rasulullah. We get to where now? He's now been announced as Wasi and Khalifa. Then he sees the most difficult times Rasulullah faces, Abu Talib faces, Bibi Khadija faces, and the Sha'ab of Abu Talib. And the Sha'ab. And one of the things that used to hurt Mawla the most is when people would say his dad died as a kafir. Wallah, one of the biggest insults. And I don't want to say all non-Shia, because there are non-Shia, please no recording. There are non-Shia who do what? There are non-Shia who love Abu Talib. Let's not say all non-Shia. There are some who love. But there are some who cannot deny the fact that Abu Talib is described as a kafir. How could you describe someone who gave his valley to the Prophet, peace be upon his family, as a kafir? And even one day when that man came to Imam Ali alayhi salam, when Imam became Khalifa later on, said to him, your dad is going to burn in hell. Straight in the Imam's face. Ali ibn Abi Talib had to face people later in his life, most arrogant, most rude. Why? They wanted to test his discipline. To see, can he let go? He would never let go. Wallah, he used to give from the treasury of the Muslims to Salam ibn al-Kawwa, who used to do la'na on him. After salah, Mawla would give him money from the treasury. People would say, Mawla, but he does la'na on you. He goes, as long as the Muslims are safe from his tongue, let him abuse me. What a level. What a level. The person said, your father will burn in hell. Mawla said, listen, whether he burns in hell or not is my Lord's decision. But remember that I'm the one who splits heaven and hell. I'm the one who splits. Therefore, when I look at it, I see Sha'ab of Abu Talib. You know what Abu Talib would do? Ali, you sleep in the bed of your Prophet. We cannot allow him to die. Have you seen sacrifice like that? Therefore, Abu Talib trained Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam that whatever happens, I don't care if you're 16, you're 17, you're 20, Muhammad's life is more important than all of us. He has a risala, and that risala can only be complete in which way? That risala can only be complete if you make sure that you look after him. Did he look after him? Look at the night of Hijrah. Oh, on that night of Hijrah, they wanted to kill the Prophet. Who slept in the bed that night? Who? Who? You tell me. How old was he when he slept in the bed? 23. 23. Why the Prophet would ask him to sleep in the bed? There's so many others. You could pick others to come and sleep in the bed. He knew none of these would be able to handle sleeping on the bed on that particular night. He said to Mawla, Mawla, they want to kill me. I'm going to have to leave Mecca and go to Medina. I need 2 favors from you. Sorry, 3 favors from you. The first favor of the 3 is bring my daughter Fatima with you to Medina, with your mother Fatima bint Asad, and with Fatima related to Hamza bin Abdul Muttalib. The second thing I need from you is that some of the kuffar who hate me have got their deposits of jewelry with me. Allahu Akbar. Which is absolutely nuts, by the way. I hate you, but do you mind looking after my gold? Oh, really? And trust the Arab to be clever at this moment. Because you know after the night of Hijrah what the Arab did? One of them goes to the other, listen, I've kept some deposit of jewelry with Muhammad, but he's gone to Medina. He's given it to Ali ibn Abi Talib. Let's go to Ali ibn Abi Talib and say that we've got a couple of necklaces. He should give them to us. But who are you dealing with? Your average Tom, Dick and Harry would fall for it, probably. But with Mawla, they came to him. 2 of them. Well, they said, Arabs. Oh, yo, Muhammad, we left jewelry with him. Ali ibn Abi Talib said, no problem. Come to me, for example, the next day, and then I'll sort it out. But you come in the afternoon, you come in the evening. One who came in the afternoon, so when did he leave it? Is it last Monday at 3 o'clock? The one who came in, when did he leave it? Last Tuesday at 1. He said, both of you are liars. None of you have left any. One says Monday, the other says Tuesday. The second thing was, return the deposits to my enemies. This is amana. Even if he's my enemy, you have a fight with someone, akhlaq is akhlaq. Return it back, Cut your relation. Don't say, because I'm angry with him, I'm going to take his money, it's my right. There's no such thing. Akhlaq is akhlaq, give back. This is haqq. This is iman. This is meaning of Islam. The third thing he said, I need you to sleep in my bed. Is this okay for you? The humility of Rasulullah. Is this okay for you? Mawla replied, Ya Rasulullah, are you going to be safe? He said to him, yes. He said, then my soul is for your soul. And my body is for your body. In the heavens, there was a discussion happening that night. Discussion is happening because people are watching. They're in disbelief that a man at the age of 23 is ready to face 40 swords of the Quraysh on his body. What iman? Remember in my lecture on namaz yesterday, what did I say? Imam Ali explained ruku'. When they asked him, why do we do ruku'? He said, you are putting your neck out, showing Allah you're ready for it to be beheaded. Those who have not heard the majlis on namaz, listen to my majlis last night on what is the philosophy of every act of salah in the eyes of Mawla. Ali ibn Abi Talib said, I'm ready. He said to my, you going to say, he said, Mikael and Jibreel, Allah asked them, do you prefer to sacrifice your lives for me as angels, or do you prefer to live forever? They said, Ya Allah, we are ready to sacrifice our life, but we prefer to stay living forever worshipping you. He goes, go down and look at the son of Abu Talib. Both of you go down. Look at the son of Abu Talib. There is a young man there who is ready to sacrifice his life for his Lord and his Prophet. When the Quraysh came, they removed the cover and they saw Ali ibn Abi Talib there on the bed. I remember a marhum Urdu Zakir, his name was Irfan Haidar Abidi. He was a very strong orator. I remember once when I was in Pakistan, there was someone who has the video. I said, what's he saying? Because mashallah, you guys can be very passionate in your reply. He gave a reply, Irfan Haidar Abidi, I will never forget. They said to him, what is this that was happening to Ali? He said, Ali was on the blanket of Iman on him, and the bed was taqwa under him. Subhanallah. Tonight we're going to break the Nara Haidari record in the UK. We haven't even finished the biography. We keep going. MashaAllah. MashaAllah. Nara Saftari. Nara Kambari. Nara Buzari. Nara Haidari. Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad salawat. Allahumma salli Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. That night, there is something else not to forget. There's something else. Never did he feel scared the whole night. He doesn't need to be told by someone, listen, don't worry, we've got this. Because if you're full iman, then you're not going to get scared. True? You would be so ready. You don't need a man to tell you, don't grieve, Allah is with us. True? You don't even need that. You're just relaxed. You're chilling. You're in that bed. And as soon as they remove the blanket, he looked at all of them. Which one of you wants to take me on? Where? Come. Contrast that there's one man on that night who's saying, take me on. And there's another shivering saying, what's going on in here? Unbelievable. Unbelievable, the comparison. That night, Mawla. Now we are moving from stage 2. We're going to go to stage 3 shortly. We said stage 1 was what? Birth to prophethood. Then Nubuwwah to Hijrah. That night, he took Fatima, his mom, bint Asad. He took Fatima to Zahra. And he took Fatima Hamza's. And they went together. And he said, I have been told to order you, to go with you. And there's an order from the Prophet to go where? To go all the way to Medina. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, at that time, where was he? He had already reached Medina. He's waiting for Imam Ali. He waited 15 days. He said, I will not enter here until Ali ibn Abi Talib arrives. How many days? 15 days. They asked our Imam, when did hasad affect the caliphs? This is an important question. When did hasad affect the khulafa? There has to be a point where the hasad is affected. He said, when the Prophet wouldn't enter Medina until Ali reached, this was the first drop of hasad in him. Because he kept on telling the Prophet, let's go. He said, I won't go. But Ya Rasulullah, people of Medina are waiting. Let them wait. The religion is built on the foundation from before we came to earth on mine and his nur. And at Da'watul Ashira, it was me and him. I am not a real companion, or I am not loyal if I enter Medina and receive the glory and the son of Abu Talib is on his way. Ya Rasulullah, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 10 days, 12 days. Why it took so long? Because along the way Quraysh had sent soldiers to kill him. And every soldier that came met a sword on his way. One after another until Mawla reached. Only when Mawla reached Medina, the smile came back on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Our youth must understand this. Why? Because sometimes our youth say, but how people were always good, they only changed at the end. The drops of hasad had begun then. The drops of hasad, but why does he wait for him all the time? Then Prophet made it clear again, because now there's a new Jama'at, a new Imam Barga, a new Husayniyah called Medina. We've left the other parish. We are now at a new parish. This new parish of Medina, they have some innocent, sincere people. True? So when the Prophet came, he realized, some are Muhajir, some are Ansar. Let's make them brothers of one another. Brothers. You say to me at this moment, whoever is the closest to Rasulullah will be with him. True? Number one. But number two, Prophet is making brotherhood between Muhajir and Ansar. You are with him. Muhajiri, Ansar. Muhajiri, Ansar. Muhajiri, Ansar. Me and Ali ibn Abi Talib never get separated with each other. Imagine that Rasulullah was making it so clear that Muhajir, Ansar, all of you watch. You could all be together, but me and him are two brothers already. That pact of brotherhood is one of the most important moments in Islamic history. People, even Maulanas, underestimate the pact of brotherhood. Logically, it doesn't make sense. You are a leader, you're meant to practice what you preach. Muhajir Ansar, Muhajir Ansar, Muhajir Ansar. Why have you said Muhajir Ansar to all of them, but you and Ali cannot be separated? It was a lesson that never ever find a way in which there's a gap between me and Ali ibn Abi Talib. Never. The moment you do that, this religion is finished. And when now they've established in Medina, now we welcome what? We welcome the battles of the religion of Islam. Where do you want me to begin in the battles? What do you want me to begin? You heard my majlis, Nahj al-Balagh, a couple of nights ago when I said, oh Muawiyah, you call me to war? Just listen to this. You call me to war, Muawiyah? Better we leave the people to go to the side. You come to me. Don't let the people fight. I am Abu al-Hasan, who killed your grandfather, your brother, and your uncle at Badr. Subhanallah, Nahj al-Balagha, that line, I'm not going to say you should literally tattoo it. Don't get any ideas. But you should metaphorically, on your heart, have this line forever. I am Abul Hasan. This was at the beginning before Saffin. He said, Muawiyah, why are you bringing thousands and I'm bringing thousands? You've come here because you want me. Okay, you want me? You come to me. Okay? I am Abul Hasan. Listen to these lines. Listen to these lines. I am Abul Hasan. I am the same man who killed your grandfather, your brother and your uncle at the Battle of Badr, and I chopped them into pieces that day. Then what does he say? Subhanallah, listen to this line. The sword I carry is the same sword from that day. But there's something else. There's something else just before your Haydar. There's something else. My heart for my enemy is the same heart. Oh! My heart is the same heart. How old was he at Saffin? 60. At Badr, how old was he at the Battle of Badr, Mawla? Mawla at Badr was about 25. He said, my heart is the same heart. And the sword is the same sword. Then he destroys him with one line. He says to him, I've not changed the religion, nor have I put a new prophet. I am part of that religion which you willingly did not join until the end. I am Abul Hasan, the one who killed your grandfather. Where are we going? We're still in the beginning. Badr. Who is his grandfather? Utbah bin Rabi'ah. La'natullah alayh. And who is his brother? Brother is Walid. And the uncle, the brother is Hanzala. And the uncle is Walid bin Utbah. Ali ibn Abi Talib that day absolutely annihilated them. Absolutely. How many of you, and I said this in my majlis on Nahj al-Balagh a couple of days ago, how many of you seen the film The Message? After this battle, Hind is angry. It's her dad. She's sitting at home and they're getting these spear throwers ready. Yeah? She's just sitting there and Abu Sufyan sees her and she shouts, Muhammad, Ali, Hamza, Hamza. Why she mentioned Muhammad and Ali at the beginning? Hamza, yes. But at the beginning, Muhammad, Ali, Hamza. Because she knew that the two main problems were the first two. She found Wahshi throw a spear through a hole. She said, come here. What's your name? He said, Wahshi. She said to him, you come with me. She turned to Abu Sufyan. She said, we go to Uhud. And I'll see Abu Sufyan if you're a man. If you're a man, we go to Uhud. You take 4,000 this time. Badr, they took 900. Uhud, they took 4,000. Rasulullah, Badr, 313. Uhud, 700. They get to Uhud. She's sitting, they're having a barbecue in the tents. They're having the barbecue. They used to make it a parade because they were certain they'll win. Sitting, she says, Wahshi, are you ready? He said to her, yes. She said to him, I want Muhammad dead. And I want Ali dead. And I want Hamza dead. He looked at her, he said, easy. Who do you want first? She said to him, go and see them outside in battle. Make sure they're dead. He went, he came back. He said to her, I have seen how they fight. He said, and this is what my feedback is. So she said, tell me. He said to her, as for Muhammad, it's going to be impossible to kill him. Why? He has too many men standing around him. You're not going to get a spear accurately through them. He said to her, Hamza, easy to kill. Because his fighting stance is open. I can get the spear through him. She said to him, Ali. He said, impossible. He said a line. He said, Ali ibn Abi Talib will never die in a battle. Said, Ali ibn Abi Talib will never die on the battlefield. She said to him, why? He said, I've just seen something I've never seen in my life. Said, what is it? Said, I saw a spear get thrown towards him from behind him. Just before it hit him, he turned it around and held the spear. Said, it's as if he has eyes in the back. Said, I have seen spears thrown from behind people, but I've never seen someone, as it's just coming near him, holding it. And then he looks in your eyes as you've thrown it to him, knowing it was you. He goes, him, I'm telling you, you will see that history will say he will never be killed in the battlefield. Imagine. So she said, finish Hamza. When they were fighting, they went at the beginning, Imam Ali and Hamza together through the opposition. They were annihilating the opposition. Problem on that day was what? Rasulullah had said, do not leave Uhud, the mountain. When you see Ali and Hamza, Rasulullah knew Ali ibn Abi Talib on the battlefield is unstoppable. So he knew that he was going to get through, but he knew at the same time, if the Arabs see that he's going through, they'll leave the mountain to go and pick up the booty. Rasulullah said, don't leave. Those guys, when they saw Amir al-Mu'mineen going through, they started to leave the mountain. Khalid ibn al-Walid smelled the situation. When he smelled the situation, first thing, Wahshi ripped into Hamza. Hamza fell. Ali ibn Abi Talib now looks around. He still thinks that they could win the war, but he sees Khalid ibn Walid go from around. Mawla with Ammar bin Yasir and 2-3 others were the only ones who went and defended Rasulullah. Mawla at that time had just got married to Bibi Fatima. He came back from the battle, injuries all over his body. Everywhere on his body, having defended the Prophet where? On the battle of Uhud. Bibi Fatima had to literally look after, maybe according to one narration, 60 wounds on his body. 63 wounds, 64 wounds on his body. Just defending the Prophet while others had ran away from the battlefield. And that's where they say, because of that unbelievable performance, Jibreel said, there is a message from the heavens. La fata illa Ali, wa la sayfun illa dhul fiqar. At Khandaq, it was a different proposition. Abu Sufyan went for the kill. Abu Sufyan this time came with 10,000. Uhud, 4,000. Badr, 900. Abu Sufyan said, this time the religion is finished. Rasulullah was now facing a problem. Too many munafiqs in Medina. You don't know who to trust. And Abu Sufyan this time turned around and said, bring Amr ibn Widd al-Amiri. Amr ibn Widd al-Amiri, Rasulullah bought, Abu Sufyan bought him. He said to him, we have to finish Muhammad. Amr ibn Widd said, not an issue. But Muhammad has built this khandaq. What is this trench? They said to him, Muhammad has a companion called Salman. This person is a Persian. He's told him that the trench is what they used to do in Persia. Amr ibn Widd says, how am I going to get my horse across? Just let me get across. No one in Muhammad's army can stand up to me. Welcome to Ali ibn Abi Talib again. Come. He came forward, but you know what's beautiful about all these battles? One man's name emerges, many names running away, correct? One man emerges, this one doesn't want to fight, this one is holding back, this one is thinking twice. Imam, this Amr ibn Widd came out, Muhammad's army. Listen to his challenge. He said, Muhammad's army, I am Amr ibn Widd al-Amiri, Arabia's most famous warrior. Who of you is going to come out and fight me? What's your problem? If I kill you, you go to Muhammad's promised Jannah for you. And if you kill me, you get reward from your so-called God. So you're a winner either way. But what was he testing? He was also testing their iman that day. Let's see which ones of you really believe in him And which ones of you are hypocrites in disguise? Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib, Battle of Khandaq, 27 years old. Mawla sees the Prophet saying, who's going to come out and face this man? And Mawla says, let me go out on him. And again they say, who? He says, me. Where's everybody else? Later you call them brave. You said this one is strong, and this one fought, and this one. Where? Show me. Who? Second time? Third time? He said, me. He said, oh Ali, then go out. Then the Prophet said, the whole of Iman. Allahu Akbar. The whole of Iman has come out to face the whole of Kufr. That means anyone who fights Ali ibn Abi Talib is Kufr. This is the Prophet, not me. Fighting Ali is Kufr. Otherwise, why should I blame Amr ibn Wid and all of these? Why should I make a rule for them? They came out with the niyyah to kill Mawla. The Prophet said the whole of Iman fights the whole of Kufr. Anyone who fights Amir al-Mu'mineen is Kufr. Anyone. So therefore, when Mawla came out, Mawla looked towards him. Amr ibn Wid looks towards him. Amr ibn Wid said, name yourself. Who are you? He said, I am Ali, son of Abu Talib. He said to him, your dad was a friend of mine, so I will not kill you. He said, but you are an enemy of Allah, so I will kill you. There is something about this story that I want to take as a principle of morality of Ali. If Ali is only a warrior, then you can throw other names in history. But he's also soft heart, also dignified, not madman, gangster, ghetto. There's a class about Ali ibn Abi Talib. And I'll show you what this class is. This battle, it took a lot out of him. There was a massive mark on his head from Amr ibn Wid's hit on him, which stayed until Kufa, 19th of Ramadan. And if you could get a mark that big on Ali ibn Abi Talib, you had to be a ferocious warrior. True? Amr ibn Wid's not a joke. To get that big mark on his head, he would be ferocious. But Mawla got him down. And when he got him down, the whole of the crowds were watching. This was like the blockbuster event. The whole crowds were watching, but they saw all dust everywhere, sand. You can't see what's going on. Mawla walks out. And then he walks back in. And when he walks back in, what does he do? He then comes back and shouts, Allahu Akbar. When he came back, they said to Mawla, what happened? There was sand, we saw you come out, you go in, you come out. He said when he was on the ground, I was about to strike him, he spat at me. He spat. And because he spat at me, it angered me. And what angers me, I will never strike. Because all my strikes are only for Allah. How easy is it that when someone's angered you, you'll be like, what, me? I'll finish you. How difficult is it to then push yourself away and say, no, he has angered me, and if I kill him, my ego has overtaken me. I struck him after I left. Calmed down, did not allow that moment to be because he's angered me, and then I struck him. But the most amazing thing happened. On the one hand, the Prophet said, the strike of Ali in that day is greater than the ibadah of all humans and all the jinn until the day of judgment. One strike. One strike. Why one strike? Because it was a sincere strike. It was purely, listen, let me be clear. Be careful, shaitan doesn't make your ibadah for you. It is the most dangerous trick of shaitan. When he makes your ibadah be for you, not for Allah. That if someone changes the thought of your ibadah or the way you do ibadah, you get angry. That means your ibadah was for you, not for Allah. Be careful. Mawla's strike was purely for Allah. But do you know what the greatest moment of Khandaq is? Which is why this man is this man. Amr ibn Awid's sister was in the tent. She was in the tent. She knows her brother cannot be defeated. She's sitting there in the tent. Someone came to her and said, we got bad news. Said, what is it? Said, your brother's dead. She said, that's impossible. Said, no, he's been killed. She said, who killed him? They said to her, Ali, son of Abu Talib. She said, who is that? They say, he's a young man in his 20s in Muhammad's army. She said, take me to my brother's body right now, quickly. Quickly. They got to the brother's body. She began to cry near her brother's body. She then got up, looking at everyone, smiling. They said to her, what's wrong with you? She said, what an honor. What an honor that the son of Abu Talib killed my brother. This is unbelievable. Said to her, what do you mean, what an honor? Your brother's just been killed. And he's been killed by one of Muhammad's Muslims. She said, no, you don't understand. Before my brother starts any war, any duel between him and someone else, any duel they have, he'll always whisper something to the person. He'll always say, if you kill me, well done. But don't take my armor and my jewelry. Leave that for my family. She said, I want to know who this son of Abu Talib is. There is no one in Muhammad's army like him. He has left the armor on the body. Because in her mind, Islam was in that moment represented in one act. A savage would rip the armor, rip the jewelry, and say, I'm going to make a quick buck on this. Ali ibn Abi Talib said, but it was his last wishes. And I will not disrespect his last wishes. She said, who is this son of Abu Talib? What a unique man. If you thought he was unique at Khandaq, welcome to Khaybar. I've got rid of Utbah bin Rabi'ah. I've got rid of Hanzala bin Abu Sufyan. I've got rid of Walid bin Utbah. I've got rid of Amr ibn Wad al-Amiri. Now I have to say marhaba to marhab. Allah. I have to say marhaba to marhab. Marhab, ferocious. Marhab, unbelievable warrior. The Jews of Khaybar, he was their biggest man. And Mawla has an infection in the eye that day. And he has an infection. And they're at Khaybar. And now Rasulullah has to use the substitutes. Because you have to use the squad. Rotation. Have to bring the subs on. Subs can win you games. Subs can also do nothing. On the day of Khaybar, the subs kept coming back saying it's too difficult. We can't. The fortress, they're too strong. And Mawla had his eye infected. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said one line. He said, tomorrow I will give the banner to a man. Allah and me love him. And him and me love Allah. Karar. Ghair farar. When he goes on a battlefield, he only comes back with victory. And all of them are turning around thinking, which one of us is it? Give me a break. Give me a break. I saw Allah with my eyes or with my aql? Everyone's wondering, is it me? Is it me? Am I going to be number 9? Am I going to be the number 10? Who's going to play up front? You've earned enough caps for you to be up front. When they came, Rasulullah said, where's Ali? Bring him to me. When brought him, he came and he said, come here next to me. Took some of his saliva, placed it in his eye. When Ali ibn Abi Talib opened his eyes, he looked, he said yes. Now, Marhab had been ready and the festivities were going on. Marhab that night saw a dream. And that dream was that he was killed by a lion. Lion? Killed by a lion? How could I be killed by a lion? What's going to happen here? And then Marhab comes forward. I'm the one whose mother named him Marhab. I'm welcoming to all those who come and approach me. Then the man came out in front of him and said, I'm the one whose mother named him Haydar. Haydar, 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 Haydar. Not just Haydar. In Arabic, there are many names for lion. He didn't just say to him, I'm Haydar. A lion could be a ferocious, hardworking, vicious, destructive lion. So in Arabic, there are many names. I am not just Haydar. I am Haydar. I'm Asad. I am Dargham. I am Layth. These are all lions. There isn't one word for lion in Arabic. Layth, lion. Asad, lion. Haydar, lion. Dargham, lion. Can you imagine? You've just seen a dream an hour earlier that a lion's going to kill you. Then you see a man who says, I'm every form of a lion. And he went and he finished him off and then took that gate of Khaybar. And that gate remained testimony to him. He goes home to Bibi Fatima. She puts bread on the table. He can't break it. Wow. She said to him, Ali, you just lifted the gate. I just put bread. He said, قلعت باب خيبر لا بطاقة جسمانية ولكن بطاقة روحانية. I lifted the gates of Khaybar not with my physical strength, but with the spiritual strength of ma'rif of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, Badr, Uhud, Khandaq, Khaybar, and then one of his greatest performances, Hunayn. 10,000 Muslims this time. 4,000 of the opposition. Look how the tables have turned. But the Prophet said, whatever you do, don't be arrogant. There was a day we were small, they were big, we won. Now we're big, they're small. Khalid ibn Walid said, doesn't matter, I'll go and finish them myself. Khalid ibn Walid went. Before you knew it, Khalid ibn Walid had gone. Others had ran. Why? Because they were fighting Thaqif and Hawazin. Thaqif and Hawazin are in the mountains. You don't want to mess with people in the mountains if you don't know the mountains. Because it doesn't matter how big you are, they'll know the angles of which to come and attack. Do you know that when the Muslims were 10,000, do you know how many remained from those who didn't run away? 8. 8. 8 against how many? 4,000. Of those 8, Rasulullah sallallahu Imam Ali alayhi salam, Osama bin Zayd, who later was 18 when the Prophet was dying, he was 15 that day. There was a couple others. Look what the books of history say. 4,000. There were 2 in the army of Thaqif and Hawazin. They had waited for Ali ibn Abi Talib for years to have a go at him. They couldn't wait because in their heads that you finished Marhab, you haven't come to the mountains, young man. You got come here. And Ali ibn Abi Talib was waiting for them as well. One was Malik bin Auf al-Nasri. The other was Uthman bin Abdullah. 2 of the most ferocious Arab warriors you'll ever find. They were adamant Islam was going to be dying that day. They were ready. Now imagine 8 versus 4,000. Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib done something that day I will never forget. He turned around to the 7. He said to them, my mother gave birth to me for this day. I am like a demon possessed. My mother has given birth to me for this particular day. All I want from you guys, just stay with me. and watch what I'm going to do to them. Before you know it, both of them heads off. They've come towards him, both. The books of history testify. That's why Imam Zayn al-Abidin in Sham would always say, I am the son of the one who fought at Badr and Hunayn. Don't you always hear? In the khutbahs of the Imams, they always mention Hunayn. Why Hunayn? Because it was a stab to the others. Because they all ran and Mawla was victorious. In Dua Nudbah, how many of you have read Dua Nudbah on a Friday? In Dua Nudbah it says, but the hate of Badr and Hunayn remained in their hearts. Subhanallah. The hate of not Badr and Khandaq. The hate of Badr and Hunayn. Because Hunayn was a major stab for the Arabs. It was their last of the powerhouses. Imagine he gave all this to the religion of Islam. It's conceivable that Allah would say, oh Muhammad, tell them, Man kuntu mawla fahada aliyun mawla. Rasulullah made it clear on the day of Ghadir. We finished that second stage, which is what? Now we move on to the third stage. Rasulullah announces this. As soon as Rasulullah dies, Badr, Uhud, Khandaq, Khaybar, Hunayn, the hate of them came out. Those who were in my majlis a couple of nights ago would have heard the line that I said. That when someone said to me, Man kuntu mawla, fahada aliyun mawla. Someone said to me, Syed Ammar, Mawla means friend. Because Ali had killed many of their fathers, they had still a hate for him. So Rasulullah said, Man kuntu mawla, fahada aliyun, because he was saying that, look, whoever I am the friend of, Ali is the friend. You should be friends with him. Those of you in my majlis would remember me saying a line. That when the person said that to me, what did I reply? I said, so you're saying that they had a hate of him because he killed their fathers in these battles? The person said, yes. So I replied by saying, so what was their opinion of the commander who ordered him to kill them? I want you to focus here. They hated him because he killed their fathers at Badr and Uhud. But he received command from a man called the Prophet. That means there was hate against Muhammad, not Ali. Do you know what the proof is? The way they treated Fatima. Why would you be so vicious? Why that venom? What's that venom about? That venom is that, you know what, we joined your religion, we didn't have to, we were forced to. Us guys joined at the end. Now we have a chance, the man's not here anymore. We will force an allegiance from anyone related to him, even if it means we burn their house on them. Nobody will understand the dhulm on Ali ibn Abi Talib, what he went through and what his wife went through after Rasulullah had died. All of it was what? Hate and envy. If these two come together in a human, wash your hands from the human. The human, if he hates someone or he has hasad or jealousy against someone, that's no longer human. That's an animal ready to explode. All of their hate came out. I ask you all a simple question. If you became Khalifa at Saqifa, why do you need Mawla's bay'ah? Why not? Just move on, continue. Mawla is one person. If he doesn't give you bay'ah, you've got others who are your friends. Why are you forcing bay'ah? Because you want to take all the venom out once and for all against Amir al-Mu'mineen. And look at that venom. And his biggest exam in his life wasn't the sword. He could have used the sword. Whether he could have sabr with that sword. Do you know how much sabr? Do you know how much? Imam Zayn al-Abidin faced the most difficult moment in human history. We agree? We agree? Imam Zayn al-Abidin in his khutbah in Sham says, Ali ibn Abi Talib, asbar as-sabirin. Allahu Akbar. Imam Zayn al-Abidin, you saw Karbala, he said, but Ali ibn Abi Talib is the most patient of the patient. How? Because of how sabr he had at what happened to Bibi Fatima. That was the biggest dagger for him. And even he says, as I mentioned in my lecture a couple of nights ago on Bibi Fatima's death, he says, my patience has been exhausted. and my power of endurance has been weakened. Imagine that all those exploits, this dunya, don't ever say, why is there injustice on me in dunya? That man is the meaning of injustice. That man is what happened to injustice in this world. That from that period, all of a sudden, overnight, this ummah forgot everything he did for them. But subhanallah, when he became Khalifa, he never took out his hate on people. They had all let him down, all backstabbed him, all had forgotten him. He still treated all of them with justice. Not one of them could say a bad word about him. Even his enemies could not say a bad word about him. But eventually, this life takes its toll on you, correct? End of that period of his Khilafah, as you know, as I said in my majlis earlier tonight, he was moments away, had he not been struck by Ibn Muljam, he had prepared his army to go to battle Muawiyah and finish him. He told Imam al-Hussein, 10,000 are with you, 10,000 with Abu Ayyub al-Ansari, 10,000 with Qais. I'm going to finish Muawiyah. We're not going to leave him alone. But then Kufa happened. And Masjid al-Kufa stays in our hearts. Every time you think of the 19th of Ramadan, you think of that strike. You know, I could begin Masa'ib from now till the end of the night. I'm going to just mention a few points before we pass on to our respected Zakir after me to continue in the Urdu language. Of the points that breaks your heart, wallah, is that as soon as he falls from having been struck on his head, the first words he says when he feels a hand on him is, Hussein, is that you holding me? He said to him, Father, it's me. And it broke his heart because he's thinking, now you're holding my head. The second thing that breaks your heart when you remember his musibah is what? As he's leaving the mosque, limping because the injury was really hard. Amr ibn which strike, Ibn Muljam on top of that. Very deep cut. As he's leaving the mosque, he's limping. He can't stand straight. When he gets out of the mosque, he tells Imam al-Hassan, Hassan, let me stand straight. He said to him, Dad, why? He said, I don't want Zainab to be Allahu Akbar. Because he could see that Zainab had heard a cry, تهدمت والله أركان الهدى انفصمت والله العروة الوثقى قتل علي المرتضى قتله أشقى الأشقياء قتل أتقى الأتقياء. Zainab was at the door. Mawla said, Hassan, let me stand straight. I don't want Zainab to be shocked. And the poet describes Zainab beautifully. Many poets describe the scene of Zainab knowing her dad had been hit. Eid for me will never be the same. Allahu Akbar. Eid for me, because Eid is 9 days away, 10 days. Eid for me will never be the same. How could it be when I see him being held by Hassan and Hussein? A third point that breaks your heart. Night 20 of Shahr Ramadan. Night 20, when Imam al-Hassan, Imam al-Hussein begin to cry, he tells them, calm down, calm down. When Zainab cries, he begins to cry. Allahu Akbar. Imagine that scene. Imagine that scene. I wonder about him. I ask him one thing. Shama Ghariban, what did you feel seeing Zainab? You all know the narration. When Zainab alayhi salam on Shama Ghariban, she wakes up, some say it was in her dream, she sees a man dressed in black on a horse coming towards her. She looks towards him and says, oh man, oh man, oh man, be careful with us ladies. Neither do we have Abbas, nor do we have a Hussein next to us to protect us. The man replied, Zainab, don't you recognize your father Ali in front of you? Allah. All of you know the musibah, yes? Many times we hear about the night of the 21st. Any father on a night like that bids farewell to his children, yes? So naturally, in bidding farewell, he called Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam. He said to him, my son Hassan, come next to me. He looked around at everybody. He said to them, I want you all one by one, come and pledge your allegiance to the Imam of your time. But I'm in my final moments. One by one they came, they pledged their allegiance. Imam al-Hassan came and pledged his. And you had Sayyidah Zainab come and pledge hers. And then you had others of the brothers like Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiya and others come one by one. All of a sudden, al-Banin came next to him. She said to him, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, you called all of the children, but you never called my Abbas to come to you. He said to her, al-Banin, don't worry about this. All of them, I've asked them to look after Hassan. Abbas, I wanted him to look after Abu Abdullah. Oh, Allah. Bring Abbas to me. Let me see Abu al-Fadl. Abbas was so young on that day. He was maybe around 14 years of age. He came towards his father. The first thing his father did, he took the hands of Abu al-Fadl. Allah. All of you know where I'm going with this. He took the arms of Abu al-Fadl and began to hold the arms. I say to him, come to the Furat on that day. See the arms of Abbas on the ground. I'm going to leave you all with this line. This, I want your tear now. This is my final line. They say that when they buried the Imam, there was a cry in the orphans and the poor. Many of them were crying. Where is that man who used to feed us every night? Where is that man who used to sit with us? Where is that man who used to be there? He used to give us water. He used to give us milk. He used to give us yogurt. Where is that man? I asked them all, and I ask all of Islam one question. He quenched the thirst of every single person in Kufa. When his son asked for a drop, no one gave him. In Kufa, he never let a child be thirsty. In Karbala, his son said, one bit. I asked for one bit of water. Surely you could give me. يا حسين يا حسين مأتم الحسين يا حسين يا حسين إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون.